2 trails. Ho-hum. At least they added up to nearly 20 miles of riding. I lowered my expectations so I wouldn't be disappointed by the reality of the trails at Harmonie State Park in Indiana's southwest corner. Wrong approach. My expectations could never have matched what these trails provided. The official state map of the property did nothing to build the appeal of the trails. The line showing the trail looked like someone tied a marker to a mouse's tail and turned it loose on a sheet of drawing paper. No topo lines, no named features, just squiggles. I could have done some online research. Trailforks and MTB Project are especially helpful, but there are other sources. I didn't bother. Partly I was busy with client work, partly I saw no point. The bike was in the truck, the trails were already there, and we soon would be, so what's the point? And I've also dialed down my planning and dialed up my spontaneity, which I'll discuss in another video, and shallow planning for this trip fit that revised modus operandi quite well. Also, I'd not heard anyone rave about the trails at Harmonie. In fact, I hadn't heard anyone talk about them at all. After I got back and I was chatting with a friend, it turned out he and a couple of other friends of ours had ridden there a few years earlier. The one from whom I got the report said he thought the trails at Harmonie were okay, but nothing special, and certainly not worth the drive from southeast Indiana. That did not match my impression. I rated the trails to be outstanding. As for the drive time, I thought about looking at homes and property in the area so I could have a second place, split my time, and have easy access to the Harmonie trails for days and weeks each year. I want to focus on the trails in this video, and we'll come back to those in a bit. First, let me cover a couple of other topics related to Harmonie State Park. The park was nice. My wife and I camped there for 4 nights. We had the place nearly to ourselves, even though it was the middle of August. We hiked to the Emmons Cemetery one day. We hiked a couple of trails accessible from the campground the morning we broke camp. Becky was the employee that greeted us at the gatehouse when we first arrived. She mentioned a great vantage spot from which to shoot sunsets. She was right, and we went there on 2 or 3 evenings so I could get some shots. We would absolutely camp there again and are looking forward to doing so. And it helps that the campground is convenient to the trailhead. Each day I rode my bike from our campsite to the mountain bike trailhead. We spent several hours on each of 2 days in nearby New Harmony, Indiana. Our experience there was surprising and created some cognitive dissonance. There was lots of cool stuff, but almost no people. I'll put a link to that video in the description. Okay, what about the mountain bike trails? I rode the Sycamore Trail several times. It's rated beginner, and I think it may be the best beginner trail I've ever ridden. Probably top 3, certainly top 5. Why is it so good? Sycamore Trail has all the stuff a good trail has, with swoops and rocks and roots and grand overlooks, and climbs and descents, but they're all scaled to a beginner's skill level. It's a trail that's packed with all the rewards of mountain biking, but with few of the risks. You can get injured on any trail, and Sycamore is no exception, but the relative risk level is extremely low despite the high reward level. You can teach a newbie how to ride a mountain bike in any open space, but if you want to impart both the skill of mountain biking and the thrill of mountain biking to a new rider, Sycamore is a place to do it. What the DNR summarily dismisses as Trail 2 on their map is actually a well-developed complex with 9 distinct trail sections. The section named Sloop John B., which goes down to the river and runs along the bank for a while, isn't even shown on the state's map. By the way, my sincere thanks to whoever chose that title. Simply seeing the name brought me back to the happy days of my childhood, when I first heard the Kingston Trio perform the song on a 45 record under the title The Wreck of the John B. That was 1958. I was exiting my innocent years in 1966 when the Beach Boys recorded it under the title used for this trail. Theirs remains my favorite rendition, and I heard every word as I rode. I didn't venture into the advanced section on this trip. I already knew we'd be returning, and I wanted to focus on just those black diamond trails the day that I rode them. On this trip, I rode all the intermediate trails. Except one. The Oka Run, and I hope I'm saying that correctly, West Side Trail, had fallen victim to some serious washouts due to heavy rains in the months before I rode it. Some of it I was able to hike a bike over, but some of it was so badly destroyed it was no longer clear where the trail even was. So I tried following Oka Run. There's my bike on the other side. This massive, probably shagbark hickory, is down. And I can kind of see where the trail goes here. And there's a pin flag here. So this must be the trail. But now what? Does it pick up on the other side? And this log has been notched as if at some point people were intended to ride over it. And so maybe that is the trail. And it does look like it goes up over there. But how do I cross? I see this as a major shortcoming to riding Oka Run, OKA Run. I don't see a crossing point upstream or downstream, at least nothing nearby. I'll have to think about what I'm going to do. Probably go back. I may just ride the road out. It's getting late enough in the day. I kind of need to get back. Signing off. I gave up, turned around, rode back to Artesian Well Road, and took that back to the paved Park Road. I'll try Oka Run from the other end another day. The map available at the Trailhead kiosk is almost unreadable. With luck, there will be a newer version in the map box by the time you see this. Trail stewards appear to do a good job of keeping both Trail Forks and MTB Project up to date, so a printed map isn't essential, and the trail signage is generally very good. So that was my experience riding the trails at Harmonie State Park. They are wonderfully good trails. They don't have the mileage inventory of Brown County State Park. They don't have the tech features or diversity of Scales Lake. But man, they're a lot of fun, and I can't wait to ride them again. I'm Rich Reese, and I'll see you out there. My thanks to those supporting my efforts. You can do so on a monthly basis through Patreon or with a one-time contribution through PayPal. Links are in the description.